Hello, past, present, and future Mardi Gras cruisers. I am Brad. I'm the host of Coach Cruise, and anyway, today we are going to talk about the likes and dislikes I have of the Carnival Mardi Gras, the staff, the crew, the cruise director, the fun squad, the food, the drinks, the new things, the fun stuff to do. We're going to talk about it all right after this.
I just can't get away from a good time.
All right, everyone. So I cruised on the Mardi Gras for 2 weeks, and let me tell you, I got some warning in advance that I would need at least 2 weeks and possibly 3 weeks to accurately be able to give my opinion of the Mardi Gras, and that was a very true statement. I tried to get in as much as I possibly could in those 2 weeks, but let me just start off by saying the Mardi Gras is a massive ship in comparison to most of the fleet that Carnival has. Now, let's talk about the ship itself. Big like. It is absolutely beautiful. It's very impressive. The decor is impressive. The layout. Now that is a little bit tricky, okay? Now I like the layout, but as a, avid Carnival cruiser, I guess you could say, it's different. It's different. So for those of you that have been on a lot of Carnival cruises, when you get on the Mardi Gras, you're going to be like, what's going on? I don't know where I'm at. Where do I go? And you're going to be a little bit confused. I mean, your bearings are going to be thrown off, I guess you could say. It took me, parts of 2 days before I got comfortable. And let me tell you that the second day I woke up early and I just spent, a big chunk of time walking decks 6, 7, and 8 backward and forward until I felt comfortable that I knew where everything was on decks 6, 7, and 8. Now let me tell you one thing. The good thing about the layout is, like many other, cruise ships, all your fun activities and eating venues and things like that are all, basically on within a few floors of one another. So on decks 6, 7, and 8, that will span, for example, a Grand Central, which is one of the biggest and greatest additions of the XL class, is this additional theater venue, I guess you could say, where they have, in my opinion at least, the best performances, the best shows available for you to watch for your entertainment. Now, they have also a lot of your shops, your dining, your bars and such on decks 6, 7, and 8. Then you have to go all the way up to decks 16, 17, and 18. 16 is where the Lido deck and your main pool will be, and there's a pool on the main deck and then a pool all the way in the back. And then deck 17, for example, has Guy's Burgers. Deck 18 is your play area with your ropes course, the boat roller coaster, and and then also the Serenity Deck up on 18 on the opposite side. So the ship as a whole is magnificent. Two big thumbs up, 2 big likes for the ship as a whole. Now, let's get into the staff and crew, and I'm not even gonna wait. I'm just gonna tell you again, 2 big thumbs up, 2 big likes. They get an extra like, right? They get not just 1 like, but 2 likes. Carnival, whenever they bring out a new ship, a lot of the staff, a lot of the crew that are with, around Carnival, they, apply to be on this new ship. They want to be part of the new ship, just like all of us want to go on that inaugural cruise or cruise on that new ship, right? To see what it's all about. Well, Carnival usually picks the best of the best to go out on these new ships, and it shows. It really does. The staff and the crew, they were all wonderful and just very pleasant. And a lot of them are at the ends of their contracts. Now, I've gone on other cruises where, you get to the end of the contracts and it's understandable. You can have some empathy for some people that have worked 6, 7, 8 months, and then they're finally getting ready to end that contract, and their attitudes and their, pleasantness might not be what it was, say, in the middle of the contract or at the beginning of the contract. And it's understandable. But a lot of this crew was getting to the point where they were ending their contracts. In fact, a couple of the bartenders I really enjoyed actually, one, for example, ended the first week of my cruise. Another one ended the second week of my cruise, both from the same bar, the Brass Magnolia. And they were both wonderful and pleasant and joked around and everything else. So yeah, credit to, the staff and crew. Cabin stewards are usually always awesome. Mine both weeks certainly, check the box on that as well. The wait staff in the dining rooms and the restaurants, all great. So staff and crew, again, two big likes there. All right, so let's go to, we talked about staff and crew, and the cruise director and the fun squad could be included in that, right? But I separated them because the cruise director is very important to a lot of people, and for good reason. They're basically the host of, many of the shows and many of the fun stuff that you do, the deck parties and things like that. And, a lot of people, if that cruise director has good energy and, the fun squad and everything, work hand in hand with that cruise director, it can make for a better time. It really can. To some people it's not that important, but to a lot of people it is. Let me just tell you, Lee Mason, who now will be getting off the Mardi Gras, so depending upon when you're going on the Mardi Gras, chances are the next place you'll see Lee Mason is on the Carnival Celebration, which is the newest ship that hasn't even come out as of this recording. And Lee Mason will be the inaugural cruise director for the Carnival Celebration. And let me just tell you, he has earned it. I didn't talk to a soul that didn't love him. His energy, his energy is just off the charts. And I joked with him, in an interview that I hope to air later. We got to get some corporate approval and things like that we're trying to work out with Carnival. But I joked with him that there had to be more than one of them, because he was seemingly all over the place, and then he was still responding to social media, things like that. Obviously did the interview with me. He talked with me, on the side a couple occasions for, several minutes, and then talked with my wife and I, Anita, for several minutes during, an event that he had. So, he always takes that time to, speak to any guests that want to speak to him. And then when he's doing, performances, for example, the Mardi Gras Celebration, that is an excellent show. You would think that it's just kind of a fluffy thing that, you know what, we want to go to Voodoo Moon, so, let's get there early and catch a little bit of this Mardi Gras parade celebration thing. It is a party. At least with Lee leading it, it was. I mean, he's up there dancing, singing, leading the whole crowd, getting everybody screaming, yelling, doing the wave. It was just so much energy and so much fun to be a part of that. And then, he can be serious too. When introducing the We Are One show, there's a pre-show, I guess you could say, that celebrates all the different staff from all the different countries that are on the Mardi Gras. And, they come across with a flag representing each of those countries. So you can truly see, how many different countries and cultures are represented, on just the Mardi Gras ship. And, and just the embracing of that culture and, our differences, but how we all are one, so to speak. So, absolutely loved Lee Mason and the Fun Squad. They did their part. The mega deck parties, they had it going on. They had everybody dancing, screaming, having a good time. So it was absolutely wonderful. Now, since we're talking about cruise director and the Fun Squad, let's keep it on that same track and let's go right into entertainment. Okay. Now, this was one of the things that Carnival had been, kind of nicked on when reviewed by cruise critics and things like that was their level of entertainment. Now, in my opinion, they've always had some good entertainment. For example, Carnival Horizon, Celestial Strings, Spellbound, or Soulbound, I'm sorry, Vintage Pop. Those were some newer shows that had come out. Carnival Panorama has some newer shows. But they were missing that true wow impact entertainment type of thing. Well, let me tell you, the Mardi Gras has brought it. Because of Grand Central and it's spanning 3 decks, they have introduced some new shows that are just going to absolutely wow you. Let me talk about a couple of them. One, Love in Vegas. Okay, Love in Vegas starts off with a guy in a flippin' hang glider. I kid you not. He's on a hang glider, and of course he's suspended by wire, but the backdrop of the LCD screens and things like that makes it look like he's flying through Red Rock Canyon, outside of Vegas, and it looks just really, really cool. Then, there's other aerial stunt people, I guess you could call them, that are dressed in Vegas type clothing and just, doing all kinds of fun things. There's, a couple women, for example, spinning around upside down, 2 stories up in the air and a couple more off to the side. It's just, it's sensory overload. It really is. There's this stuff going on all over the place, and it's just really cool. Then the following night, for example, in Grand Central, you have Voodoo Moon. Okay, now Voodoo Moon is kind of like a dark drama type of, production where it has a lot of great singing and dancing and stuff like that, but it's a little more theatric, and you have these dark, shadowy figures literally flying around the air, again, suspended by cables and things like that, but the way they do it and incorporate the LCD screens and things like that to make it seem like there's hundreds of these shadow figures flying all around and are coming to kill you and take you to bad places and things like that. It's really, really neat. In addition, again, to the wonderful music and singing of the playlist performers, which was absolutely outstanding. The lead female, and actually a couple of the male singers as well, just absolutely brilliant. It might have been the most talented carnival cast I've ever seen, to be completely honest. They were fabulous. And then, like I said, coupled that with all the aerial performers and stunt people and everything, it was truly, truly rewarding time. And then the final show was more of one, I guess you could say, that kind of hits at the heart and kind of, lets everybody realize once again that, we live in a big world and we are one. And it's a performance which goes around the world and celebrates all different types of cultures, and dance and singing and culture. And it's just a really, and then it, comes all back together and ties everybody together again. Just a wonderful performance. Not quite as much aerial performing going on in this particular show, but it's a beautiful show nonetheless. Now, one thing I will say about that, because it caught me on the first week, so I was thankful I had a second week. Most people don't get a second week when they're going on a cruise. So let me just tell you, We Are One is performed on the last night, okay? And there is only one performance. At least when I went, there was. So you have to make sure you build your schedule around that on the last evening. So for example, my wife and I had the Steakhouse planned, and it was going to conflict, and we weren't going to be able to see that show, and then I would just not see the show at all. We canceled the Steakhouse. And let me just tell you, I'm glad we did. I'm glad we did. We can always go to the Steakhouse again, but it's going to be at least until next year that we have the opportunity to go on the Mardi Gras again and see that show, We Are One. So just some fabulous entertainment. And then there's a lot of entertainment that I didn't even have time to go to. For example, the Family Feud. People raved about the Family Feud. 2 weeks, I didn't go to the Family Feud once. I saw auditions for the Family Feud, so I guess I caught little glimpses of the Family Feud, but I didn't go to it one. I did go see Deal or No Deal. That's another show that you can see. You can watch that in Grand Central, which we did once. So there's so much entertainment going on. It's really difficult to get to all of it. For example, the comedy club, they have comedy going in not one, but two venues. Okay, they have their own separate comedy club, and then they have the Limelight Lounge, which they also have comedy. Other entertainment, for example, the nightclub is in the Limelight Lounge, and we didn't go to the nightclub, but I'll tell you, there was a line out the door because it's right next to the Alchemy Bar, just to get into the nightclub. So the nightclub was definitely going on the Mardi Gras. So although I didn't have a chance to review that, people seem to really be enjoying that. Okay, so fun stuff. All right. Notice I haven't had any dislikes yet. Let me give you my first dislike because it's included in the fun stuff. Although some people wouldn't call this fun, but it's up on the fun deck. So the fun deck, I guess you could say, is where the ropes course is, the Bolt roller coaster, the mini golf. They have a number of activities like basketball. You can play cornhole up there. They got foosball. They got all kinds of different activities and fun things that you can do that are free, with the exception of Bolt roller coaster, which is $15 per person. And I'll talk a little bit more about that in just a bit. But it was almost a week before I found anything about the ship that I'm like, oh yeah, I don't like this. And I went to walk the track, get some exercise in, get some steps. I hadn't been up on the sports deck, or the fun deck as I call it, until then. And keep in mind, this is a ship that holds about 8,500 people, counting guests and crew, or maybe even more than that. I have to go back and look up the statistics. They have one single track. That's it. One single little track about this wide, or, let's say round up to about 9,000 people that might want to use that one little track. Now, I know, and I mean, I'm being a tough critic here, right? Because you're like, well, they got so much other stuff going on. They have, they have mini golf up there. They have a roller coaster up there, whatever. And, I think what happened was when they were designing this ship, the designers did a fabulous job. I'll just say that. But when they were designing it, they probably had to fit all this stuff in. And then I think they got to the end and they're like, yeah, we haven't put a jogging track in. Well, let's try to squeeze it through, these bars and around here, and that's all they had. Now, I'm guessing that track's not going to change much, at least for the celebration. Maybe they've looked into that for the Jubilee, which will be following a little over a year from now. But that's not a big detraction or whatever. If you want to go to the gym and get some steps in, they have a lot of treadmills. You can probably find your way on one of those. But if you want to, jog and walk around outside, chances are it's going to be very cluttered. You're not going to have a lot of room. If you're an avid runner and you want to run outside, you may find yourself being a little bit frustrated because you're going to get clogged up and stuck behind people who are walking, or people who are just walking around to look around on the sports deck. So that is a dislike. I finally gave you one. That is a dislike. Okay, so thumbs down to the track on the Mardi Gras. But the miniature golf course, let me say this one is a meh. It's cute. I don't dislike it, but looking at it, and again, the size of the ship, it's not all that big. It's not that impressive. I've seen just as impressive mini golf courses on other Carnival ships. So that is not something that they upgraded, I guess you could say, on this particular Mardi Gras. But it's cool, it gets the job done. It's nice, like I said, nothing that's going to just absolutely wow you or anything like that. So yeah, it is what it is. Now the ropes course. Now this, I feel like they did upgrade because of one particular feature. Now I did not partake in the ropes course. I would have, just one of those things I didn't get the time to doing. But on this particular ropes course, there is a big gap in one platform to the next, where basically you are going to hang with nothing beneath you, but maybe a big deck to fall onto or something like that below. And it gives the appearance, from what I'm told, that you're just hanging out over the top of the ocean. So that might be a little bit scary, a little bit thrilling. And, obviously it has to be, very safe, because they're not going to risk their customers. But I imagine that's going to be a little bit scary as you're being suspended and drawn across to this next platform area, and looking down and seeing nothing below your feet. So I think that's really cool that they did that, because I've gone on ropes courses on, say, the Vista and other ships, and it's kind of boring. It's kind of boring, to be honest. I'm not like a major thrill person or whatever, but I did that once and it's like, But on this one, I was intrigued and I thought, hey, I got to get up and do that. I just didn't get the chance to do it. But so I thought the ropes course was a nice addition. Now let's talk water slides, because some people out there, young and old, enjoy a water slide, and I still do. I got still some young at heart left in me. They have 3 water slides. All right, they have the blue, the yellow, and the orange, as how I'll describe them. Now the blue one, you use a mat to go down on. The yellow one, you can just go down, as yourself. You just lay on your back with your hands crossed. And then the orange one is the new one that's been introduced, and where you basically stand in it, and they enclose you behind plexiglass or whatever, and you actually hear this computer voice that says 3, 2, 1, and then the floor just drops out from underneath you, and you shoot down, I would say, at least 1 story, before you hit, a slide, and then, it's a natural curve, and you just kind of, go whooshing through there. And it's quick, but it's a lot of fun, and it's thrilling. Now, the blue and the yellow, fail on those. They weren't that fun. We only went on one. Normally, I'll go on some water slides, like, for example, the Vista. I've been on those water slides, and I remember coming away from those thinking, oh, yeah, that was fun, and I might like one more than the other, but, it zoomed you down there pretty good, and you got some nice twists and turns and things like that, and you came out of there fast and everything. The blue and the yellow one, just kind of slow and whatever. But the orange one is fun. So the water slides aren't a complete miss, but they could have been a little bit more thrilling. So thumbs up to the orange, big thumbs up to the orange slide. The yellow and the blue, okay. So let's go to Bolt. All right, let me just tell you, Bolt is a charge. It's $15 per person, and those slots have been filling up. Okay, most of those slots get taken up. So if you do want to ride the Bolt roller coaster, make sure to book in advance a time that's going to work for you and you have in your schedule. So I didn't get on the Bolt until the 2nd week, but Anita and I rode it. I was the driver, and she sat in the seat directly behind me. And I will tell you this, it's quick. It's very, very quick. You only get 2 laps, but from afar, it doesn't look like you're going that fast, but when you're actually on that Bolt roller coaster, you are zooming through there. And that first lap, when you hit that first turn and you kind of just see open water out in front of you, it's a little thrilling. It gives you definitely a big adrenaline rush. And they give you like 15 seconds of boost where you go even faster than the roller coaster will already go. So that first lap was awesome. And then the second lap, I kind of honestly already got used to it. But I will say this, when we walked off, we both had big smiles on our faces. So we definitely enjoyed it. So I have to give the Bolt a like. And I would spend the $15, but I've heard some people say it's a ripoff. And the reason they're saying it's a ripoff, in my opinion at least, is because of the time. You're on there honestly for, 30 seconds. You can get through those 2 laps. And so you're paying You know, if you're going with a spouse or, you know, another family member, you're paying $60 for about a 30-second ride. And no, I'm sorry, $30 for about a 30-second ride. So it's like $1 a second. So they're making their money back on the roller coaster. I will say that. But that being said, like I said, I may not do that every single time that we go on the Mardi Gras, but it definitely was fun, you know, once. We'll see, you know, if they adjust the price on that, if it lowers the price of people. You know, I'm curious to see once people have ridden the Mardi Gras, you know, multiple times, if the participation on the boat, you know, doesn't go down dramatically at that cost and they have to lower it to say $5 or $10 per person. Right now, the demand is still great because most people going on the Mardi Gras are going on for the first time. So we'll see how that goes. All right, other things to do, you know, that are fun that I included in the fun stuff are like trivia and karaoke. Those haven't gone away. You know, you definitely can, you know, find your trivia and your karaoke and have a good time doing that. All right, so I'm already 25 minutes in, and like I say, the Mardi Gras is so big, there's so much to talk about. I'm trying to move quickly through this, but it's difficult because there's so much stuff to talk about. All right, so all right, let's get into the big ones, right? The food and the drinks. And before I do, if you've gotten to this point in the video, and I know food and drinks are the big ones, so, you know, or two of the bigger ones, could I please plead with you? We are still a smaller channel. Now, some people are under the misconception that, oh, you're a YouTube, you know, person, you're making all this much money doing all this other stuff. No. Let me make that very clear. You know, I've got over a year invested into this now, and I've probably lost easily over $1,500, maybe $2,000 between buying equipment, you know, equipment upgrades, trying to subscriptions for editing software, things like that, you know, computers, all kinds of stuff. You know, it costs a lot of money to build up the channel and market it. You know, for example, when I go on cruises, I you know, buy buttons that I'm always handing out to people to help market the channel and build it up. It's an investment like anything else. So if you could take a moment and pause me right now and hit that like and subscribe button, it will help out a lot more than you know. And you know, it helps the channel grow, and eventually one day maybe we will be like the big boys and girls that are actually making some money on YouTube and doing well and things like that. The money, you know, like I said, I would do this for free, and well, actually I'm paying money to do it right now as I just shared, but we met so many wonderful people. But at some point it would be nice, you know, but we got to build up our subscribers, and we got to get a lot of people hitting likes so those videos get shared, so we have an opportunity to do that. So like and subscribe, I appreciate it so much. So let's get into the drinks first, all right? We'll finish with the food. So the drinks. Now, I wanted to address the new bars first. Now, there's 3 bars in particular that I feel are new and different. Let's start with Bar della Rosa, because that's the smallest of the new bars. Now, that bar is going to specialize in, you know, coffees and you know, Aperol spritz, you know, for example. They don't have an extensive menu, but you can get a lot of your basic drinks there, especially the coffee. One little secret nugget I will give you is the Java House line on deck 6 is often packed. Now, the Bar della Rosa is on deck 8. They have an espresso machine too, and a lot of times there might only be 6 or 8 people at the bar at Bar della Rosa in the morning, and it's open pretty much the same time that Java Cafe is, and you won't have to wait 15 minutes to get your coffee. You can walk right up and say, hey, for me, like for example, I'm a caramel latte when I'm cruising usually, and get my large caramel latte there and don't have to wait in the line. So that's one way you can kind of cheat the system. Not really cheat the system, but it's a little trick to get your coffee a little faster in the morning. All right, and it's just as good, in my opinion. Okay, so Bar de la Rosa is nice. The bartenders there loved them. A couple in particular, Maria and Vera, were just very pleasant, very outgoing, very friendly, personable. Got to know them over the course of the 2 weeks, and always call you out by name once you've been there a couple times, and just had a lot of fun with them, and great bartenders as well. So I think that is a spot that you will think is a welcome addition to the Carnival fleet. Now, the next bar, the Fortune Teller. All right, the Fortune Teller is the bar that you've probably seen in other Mardi Gras videos because they have the crystal ball there, and everybody loves to show off that crystal ball when they do videos. They've been in my videos too. I'm guilty as well. And they have a lot of the other spooky, kind of interesting, different drinks. Again, the bartenders at the Fortune Teller are wonderful. A couple that stood out. We had Anna Paula, Jennifer, Carolina, Angela. I'm forgetting a couple, but they were all wonderful. They really were. And they, again, very personable, great bartenders. Have fun, joke around, and still make some really great drinks, right? And then Brass Magnolia. Okay, Brass Magnolia, Milo, it was one of the bartenders I mentioned earlier, and he was there the first week I was there, and then his contract ended. So it was always fun the last day of somebody's contract. You just see the smile and the enthusiasm because they know they're getting off the ship the next day. So that was fun. And Stephanie, who was a peer of Milo's, was hating on him in a fun way the end of that first week because, she was supposed to get off that week too, I guess, but somehow got a week extension or something like that. So she was off the following week. So I got to see both of those bartenders off. Lynn was another bartender, and Manol came on late, but that was a fun group of bartenders and make some really, really great drinks. One of my new favorite drinks is the Bayou Lemonade. It is phenomenal at the Brass Magnolia. Similar to the, well, not similar, but kind of in the same ballpark is Pim's Cup was another drink I really liked there. And then they have some old school drinks, Sazerac, things like that. So the Brass Magnolia is going to have more of your traditional drinks and some new favorites, I guess you could say, whereas the Fortune Teller is going to be your different taste, different, let's try something different drinks that you might really like. I started to grow fonder of the Brass Magnolia the longer that I was on the ship. I still enjoyed the Fortune Teller. And then, of course, the Alchemy Bar is always probably going to be my favorite. Some people had suggested to me that was going to be tested. And it was tested, but the Alchemy is tried and true. They have the iconic drinks, and they can get creative too. A lot of times if they have a sweeter drink, I can say, hey, make it a little less sweet, and they do, and they make it just right. But I also want to give a shout out to the Steakhouse Bar, because the Steakhouse Bar, what's unique on the Mardi Gras here is the Steakhouse Bar is actually outside the bar. Now, some of you don't know, on other Carnival cruises, you don't have to have a reservation, a dining reservation, to be able to take advantage of the Steakhouse Bar. You can go into the Steakhouse Bar and order yourself a drink and sit at the bar. Some people don't know that. It's a wonderful opportunity because they have some drinks that you can't get anywhere else. For example, if you're a bourbon fan, they have Blanton's, okay? And Blanton's, you can get it at Guy's Pig and Anchor for those that have a Guy's Pig and Anchor, or the Carnival ships, that is, and you can get it at the Steakhouse. All right, and then you used to be able to get it at Alchemy, but most places aren't carrying it anymore. The Alchemy Bar, that is. Now, the what's nice about the Mardi Gras Steakhouse is it's outside, so you can be walking past the bar, and the bar is right there, and you can go up and say one of their signature drinks, for example, is a watermelon martini. They're absolutely delicious. Again, I order mine a little less sweet than normal, and they hook it up for me just right, and it's brilliant. Okay, Daniel was one of the bartenders there, and he was great. He even gave me some photography ideas that I've incorporated into a couple videos. So yeah, they were absolutely wonderful there. So yeah, the drinks, there are a ton of bars. You know, like I said, Guy's Pig and Anchor is absolutely huge. You can still get these amazing Bloody Marys there. But overall, the drinks and the different, offerings that they have are great. And you will love the drink variety on the Carnival Mardi Gras. Now, one venue that I have not addressed, and there's a bar here as well. But when we're talking about, let's jump, well, let me just tie up the drinks here really quick. I would say that, again, 2 big thumbs up, 2 big likes. If I were to be very, very picky and say something that I didn't like, okay, I missed the Blue Iguana. All right. The Red Frog, it tried to incorporate a couple of the drinks that the Blue Iguana used to have, but I just don't like the menu of the drinks at Red Frog. Now, don't get me wrong, there's a ton of drinks to choose from, but I was fond of the Blue Iguana bar, and I liked the option of going back and forth between those two, and that bar is gone. So yeah, that's something I wasn't too crazy about, but it is what it is. Now, new stuff, and let's talk about a Serenity Deck, because the Serenity Deck is not new to Carnival. They have that on every ship, but what is new is the absolute massive size of the Serenity Deck. Also, with the exception of the Sunshine, is the only one I can think of off the top of my head that has a pool. The Mardi Gras has a pool of their own on the Serenity Deck. And then within that deck, most of that area is shaded, so you can sit at a table or a lounger within that area in the shade. And then there's a bar, of course, that you can have access to, where you can go and order drinks. Now, outside of that area, there is a massive area on deck 18 with outside loungers and chairs and clamshells and things like that. Honestly, I think it's almost too big. Now, the reason I say it's almost too big is because the pool, although it's an awesome addition, could have probably been bigger. Now, I don't know the engineering that goes into the pools and things like that, but for the amount of size and deck space that they gave to the Serenity Deck, they probably could have made that pool a lot bigger. The reason I say that is the Serenity pool was absolutely packed every time that I went up there almost. I mean, there were no spaces to even stand along the sidewalls many times. Like if you wanted to go into the pool, you would have to stand in the middle area of the pool to actually even be in the pool. And then there's people sitting on the side and everything. I mean, it's a fun environment if you're just going there to, have fun and, hang out or whatever. But it's difficult to even get in the pool because it was so packed. So that would be one suggestion. I mean, I like it, but at the same time, it could have been better. And, I think that's the thing with, when you come out with a new ship, you look at it and see like, okay, what's working, what's great, what could use a tweak or an improvement or whatever. I mean, I think they hit it out of the park by putting a pool up there and in the seating areas and things like that. Maybe on future XL ships, they'll say, hey, you know what, let's expand this Serenity Deck pool because so many people are taking advantage of it. Maybe that's something they do, but that would be a suggestion that I would make if I were them. Okay, and so that's one new area that was great. Couple other things. Guy's Burger has been expanded. All right, and it's welcome. It's a welcome addition because Guy's Burger, we know, it can often be crowded, and if you haven't guessed, we're getting into the food. So let's start with Guy's Burger, right? Because it is iconic, and it's great. It's great. Like as always, the burgers great as always. They even have the new Thunderstruck Burger as of the release of this video, which is a nachos type spicier burger. and I liked it. I really did. Liked the new burger choice. So if you're going on the Mardi Gras anytime soon, try one of those nacho burgers out, Thunderstruck Nacho Burger, and I think you'll enjoy it, especially if you like a little heat to your burger. All right, now let's talk about well, not everybody, but most people have really been talking about Shaq's Big Chicken, and with good reason. That was the first thing that I did when I got on the ship as far as food. I went up and I got a Shaq's Big Chicken. You can go back and check out my vlogs. I have 2 weeks of vlogs, and if you'll see that that's the first thing that I did. I got the Shaq Attack and the Aristotle Burger my first time through. Now, I went there probably 3, 4, 5 times over the course of my 2 weeks, and I think my favorite chicken sandwich was the Uncle Jerome. That's one that brings a little bit of heat, but again, if you're somebody that's afraid of heat, try the Uncle Jerome because it's really not that hot. You can taste a little bit of spice, but it's a welcome spice. Get a combination of the pickles and everything else. It's really, really good. Emeril's Bistro. Now, this is a pay-to-eat location. And Anita and I went, and this is, again, one of the things that I didn't get an opportunity to do until late in the cruise. But we tried the jambalaya, and then we both got po' boy sandwiches, oyster and shrimp po' boy sandwiches. The jambalaya was wonderful, and the shrimp and oyster po' boy were very good. So I gotta say, just based on that one meal, I gotta give it a like. Now, one of the other new eating venues, and this one's gonna be a meh, and it's a meh for the couple of times that I ate, and don't take this rating too seriously just because I only ate there twice, okay? And just like the Emerils, I only ate there once, so you could take that, even though I liked it and we liked it. Again, it was only one time. But Chebang went there for dinner one time, and it was okay. I got the Kung Pao chicken, I got something else, and it was all right. I wasn't like, oh wow, this is really good, and that was early on in the cruise, the first week, and I just didn't have a desire to go back there anytime soon. And fast forward all the way to the last afternoon on the last sea day, and we were headed to brunch. It was like, let's give Chebang, another try. And for example, I got the lunch, and I got the stir-fry steak noodles, and then what else did I get? I got something else, but it was forgettable, obviously, because I don't even remember what it was now. But the steak stir-fry was good. It came with the larger wide noodles. And one thing I did really like was for dessert, they have an option where you can get a small churro like roll with vanilla ice cream. The churros are the cinnamon and bread kind of thing. That was really good. That was really good. But overall, like I said, a couple times I went to Chebang. I could take it or leave it. I think, honestly, they need to focus on one. I would have preferred Gigi's. I love Gigi's. I don't know how many of you have been to Gigi's on like the Horizon, the Panama, the Vista class ships. All have Gigi's, for example. And I make a point to go to Gigi's every time. They have this chicken soup that's absolutely amazing. The creme brulee is really good. The appetizers, were always a hit when I went to Gigi's. And this fusion thing where they're kind of combining Mexican with Chinese, and focus on one thing. Be a master of one thing instead of a jack of all trades. That's what I say when it comes to food. So I can leave the Chebang, but again, don't take it too seriously. Only went there twice. There have been people I've talked to that really enjoyed it. So go try it out for yourself and tell me what you think. Put in the comments what you think. Okay, so let's go on to Cucina Del Capitano. Okay, that was one of the restaurants that was open. As you know, many Carnival ships, because of staff shortages and stuff, they actually closed their cucina. And it's been open on the Mardi Gras. And one thing you may not know is on elegant nights, you can actually go there and, for example, the first elegant night, you can order your lobster from Cucina in addition to the other things that are offered on the menu, like the chicken parmesan, for example. Now, I will say this. On other ships, the offering costs you, $15, $16 to go to Cucina. And I did notice a difference in the quality of, say, the chicken parmesan that they offered in comparison to what I traditionally have gotten on other ships. That being said, for free, it was still very good. So definitely a big like for Cucina, and the spaghetti carbonara was excellent. So big thumbs up for Cucina, really good. Guys, Pig and Anchor. Okay, now they have different specialties on each given night. For example, the first day that you're on the ship, at least as of this airing, you could get a filet mignon steak with your first day dining, and that costs nothing extra. And you can order a couple of them, and it was really good. Now, is it going to be the quality of a filet that you're going to get in the steakhouse? Of course not. But it's for free. It's excellent for free. All right, and I think some people can be a little bit too choosy. It was very good. Other times we went, for example, I know I got the loaded tots. Try the loaded tots at Guys Big and Anchor. Those are really good. And I got some smoked chicken, dark meat there that was really good. And, a couple other things. So, again, those are free. In most cases, you can order stuff, that's lower down on the menu that is an actual charge, like prime rib, things like that. But for a free offering, great. Now, one of the specialty restaurants that was added was Rudy's Sea Grill. And I did a video on this. If you want to go through my catalog of videos, you will see this. It's got Anita on the front thumbnail with 2 big thumbs up. And she was giving a thumbs up to her lobster macaroni and cheese, if I remember correctly. The appetizers we had at Rudy's, we each got 3, and 2 of the 3 were absolutely amazing. I can tell you, if you go to Rudy's Sea Grill and you like scallops, you must. It had some crazy long name or whatever, but just look for the scallops and like a creamy cheese. And I forget, it's Christophe de Grioni or something. It's something crazy name like that. But it was one of the best appetizers, honestly, I think I've ever had. It's, for sure at a specialty restaurant, but it was absolutely fabulous. The other thing I really, really enjoyed was they had a seafood bisque. It kind of reminded me of the lobster bisque in the steakhouse, which we've always loved, but even better because there was noticeable chunks of seafood in every spoonful, in combination with that amazing, broth was fabulous. Now, the main entrees, I'll say, were just good. They weren't awesome. Like I said, the appetizers were awesome. With the exception of the calamari. The calamari was just your typical fried calamari, nothing special there. And Anita got another appetizer that was just, okay. But lobster mac and cheese, seafood bisque, and those scallops and that cheese were just unbelievable. Now, dessert, you may be tempted. There's like 3 desserts, if I remember correctly, and honestly, I forget what the third one is, but I took 2 because Anita's not a dessert person, and so the choices were like an apple cheesecake. Now, I love apple pie, so, and I really, really like cheesecake, so I'm like, how can you go wrong? Apple cheesecake, of course I ordered that. And then key lime pie. I've always been a fan of key lime pie, but if I get my choice between key lime pie and say apple pie or something like that, I'm usually going to take an apple. So that was my secondary choice. And let me tell you something, I didn't finish the apple cheesecake. I took a couple bites and I'm like, okay, I don't want to eat both of these desserts. It was okay, but please pass on the apple cheesecake and order the key lime pie because it was magnificent. Absolutely phenomenal key lime pie. One of the best key lime pies I've ever eaten. So you will absolutely like that. Now, as far as the main entrees, I got the red snapper and it was very good, but I'm not going to sit here and say, oh, it was to die for. You got to get that or anything. It was good. It was solid. If you like red snapper, you'll enjoy it. Like I said, I don't know if it'll be the best red snapper you ever ate, but it's good. Now, Anita initially said, hey, she really liked the stuffed lobster that was stuffed with crab meat. And then, taken back, she, after reflecting a while, she said, I liked it. It was good. But not maybe the initial reaction of like, oh my God, this is good. So the main entrees, if you want to try something different, like I said, we not loved the main entrees, but some of those appetizers were really on point. Steakhouse is always good. We went there, and I got the cowboy steak. If I had to do it again, looking at the ribeye, I would have gone with the ribeye. And then one of the people I dined with got the filet, and the filet just was cooked perfectly, and you could almost cut it with a fork. It was so tender. So that would be a couple other good choices there. And what do we have left? You know what? We might be running out of stuff to talk about. And honestly, I wasn't expecting this to go near as long as it's gone. But as you see, I didn't spend too much time on any one particular topic. And I hope I gave you a thorough breakdown of everything Carnival Mardi Gras. And if you got through this whole 50 minutes, gold star for you. You get 2 big thumbs up and 2 big likes. I hope that helped you. And again, if you're watching this all the way to the end and you're not already a subscriber, please hit that subscribe button. You had to like it enough to watch it this long, right? So again, you will help me out and our channel out so much. We're a long way away from being productive. That's not obviously the only reason we do it. We've met so many wonderful people, and that's been the biggest perk of starting this channel. But we do want to see it grow, and by you hitting the like button and you hitting the subscribe button, you do just that. So we appreciate you so much for doing that. And welcome to the Coach Cruiser family. You are a welcome addition. So that's all we have for you today, Coach Cruisers and new Coach Cruisers. And I hope you enjoyed the video. And again, this is a long one, so thanks for seeing it through all the way to the end, and we will see you later.
I just can't get away from a good time.